So here is the Xinlin X165 Nano Quadcopter. Package is quite good. This is being supplied by CN Direct for me to review, so I'm quite looking forward to having a look at this little one. I like the little ones for indoor flying when the weather's not so good, or in winter when it's dark early, and they're really brilliant for playing around in the house sort of thing. It comes in black or white. They've sent me the white version, obviously. The boxing is pretty good. I mean, I like blue anyway, so having the blue and the black just seems to work quite well. Makes the white stand out quite well. I quite like the look of the design, but we'll go through all that more when I get into the box. It is well packaged. It just came in like a jiffy bag, but it's pretty resilient and it's not really going to get damaged or anything, which is what you want from a quad. You don't want it turning up and a crack in it or something in the bodywork. So let's take it apart. It's quite a strong plastic, and I would imagine it's much better than cardboard, so very good packaging, I would say, for something of this size, so it's well protected. The actual design of where that's slipped in as well is rather good as well. There's our transmitter, so this is a controller we're going to have with it. With most of these, I'm sure this one will be the same. This is your throttle, and this is forward and back. This is your left and your right, and then this is the rotation of the quadcopter. So when you put it to the right, the quad will rotate to the right. This moves it to the right. So it's basically called a left-hand throttle or mode 2. So that you know you get the right one. Majority of them are mode 2. Just be careful if you order a mode 1. These are switched around the other way. So I'll run through that a little bit more a little bit later on, but that's well held in there as well. Not going to get damaged. And then we've got a USB charger, and this will plug into the quad more than likely, and certainly this goes into your computer, or you can use your iPhone charger, anything like that. Anything that gives a USB and gives a charge to the end there will be fine. And then the user manual in here as well. Just looking around as I've unpacked, and I haven't missed anything. There's no spare props. You usually get a spare set of props with a quad, or you usually get a little screwdriver and some bits and pieces, but no, this seems like this is the way it's come, obviously. The user manual, I'll have a read through that when it's on charge. It's always a good thing to do, even if you know your way around quads. There might be something in here that's a little bit different, where they put the controls and what they do and everything. So look at that later. The actual quad itself is held in with zip ties or cable ties, so you're not going to be able to put it back into here to store it again. I'd run an elastic band if you need to, but to be honest, it probably all just fits back in the box anyway. So let's just clip those off, and there we are, we're into it. There we go. So the quad is, put my hand there so you can actually see the size of the quad. It is, well, I would imagine it's a nano. It might be just slightly bigger than a nano. There's so many variations out there now, it's getting difficult to know which is which. And the smallest one is absolutely tiny these days, almost like a tiny coin. So, weight, I'll pop it on some scales and put the weight down the bottom there for you. But it looks nice, looks really good. Like I say, shame there isn't any spare props. That's one of the things that tends to get broken as soon as you fly them in the house. You hit something, that happens. The other thing that doesn't come with it, and whether or not you can get one I don't know, is a prop guard. So something to protect around the props, so that when they hit your wall or something, they don't A, damage the wall, or B, snap the prop. So that would be rather good. And I'll be interested to see how many LEDs it's got on it as well, because there's certainly something here going on with like the eyes at the front, but I can't actually see any other LEDs, but they might be hidden within here around the little motors. So we will have a look. I shall go and get it on charge. While the quadcopter is charging up, I'll install the batteries into the transmitter. You've got a battery already supplied within the quad, so you don't need one for that, and actually it's not an interchangeable one. You would have to dismantle it to get into it, and it will probably be soldered in. So but on the transmitter you don't get the AA batteries, which you're going to need for this, and you need 2 of them, as it says in the instructions. You need a small Phillips screwdriver, which you tend to get with some of the quads, and actually once you get into quad flying you wind up with an absolute load of them. which is good because they tend to disappear around the house. So you basically just unscrew the safety lock in, and then you're in. You just need 2 ordinary AA batteries, or you could use rechargeables. It doesn't take an awful lot of power, so it would be fine on rechargeables. But certainly if you're buying this as a gift, you want to make sure they've got these with it as well, because nothing more infuriating than, you know, batteries not included. Make sure they're in the correct way, and then just pop this little cover back on. Always worth popping the little screw in. The reason being, if that falls out and you're flying the quad, what's going to happen is the quad could possibly just carry on flying because it hasn't received a signal from here telling it not to fly, and this will basically be dead in the air. Your on-off switch is down the bottom here, so put that on. You get the flashing little red LED. Basically it's trying to link up with the actual quadcopter, but obviously that's on charge and it hasn't been turned on, so therefore it's not going to find it. So I'll just turn that off for now. And this actually has 3 different modes you can fly in. And to change the modes, you basically press down on this one, you get a click. Hopefully the camera got that. And there's 3 modes, so you go through a cycle of clicks. That would be mode 2, and that would be mode 3, which it says is headless mode, so that'll be interesting if it is. On some of the quads, they don't seem to have the headless mode, even though the manual definitely says it does. And this one here, in any of their modes, if you press this one, and then if you use this to move to the right or to the left, or forward or back, it will actually flip the quad. It will do a complete flip and come back into the horizontal position. So it's just called flipping, and it will do it once every time you press that button. So these 2 tiny little buttons here are called trim buttons, and basically if the quad's starting to drift forward, so if it constantly wants to drift forwards, if you so basically you're having to pull it back all the time just to keep it steady, because it should fly dead level, it should just sit there level. You can literally click this one back until it just hovers steady, and if it's drifting to your left or your right, you can alter it with these ones. So and then it should stay nice and level for you.
Okay, so I'm going to fly this outside. So first of all, make sure the throttle's off on the transmitter, turn on the transmitter, turn on the quad, get that big beep so that it's ready to be bound, and then up and down on the throttle, and that means it's bound and we're ready to fly. So let's see how we go. You can see the little LEDs there, I hope. It is a bit windy, so we'll see how we go. But, no, quite a nice, it seems fine. Ooh, very slow rates, which is very good. That's what you want when you're learning. This is in mode 1. I'm going to try flipping it first of all. Whee! Quite a nice little flip. Didn't lose a lot of altitude, some of them can, so that was quite good. And we do a forward flip. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, nice little flipper. Sometimes they're not so good, but that looks pretty good. And in flight she looks pretty good. Hardly see those LEDs, but I'm out in the daylight, so that's why. I'm going to press the left button down, and that double click means I'm in mode 2. So we've got a little bit more aggression with it, which is better. Yeah, no, that turns quite nicely. Yeah, no, quite controllable. And let's try mode 3, which is the headless mode. So we'll just see, I'll get the orientation that we were when we started to fly, and see how we get on. So this is in headless mode. I'll turn it around towards me. Ah, no, that's not headless. It's definitely not headless. It's just flying as normal, so it's just a little bit more aggressive, that's all. Still not the tightest turn out, but yeah, it's fine. It's good. It's good for someone learning, I would say. And I'll see whether it flips any difference in 3. I doubt it very much, but sometimes they do. No, just exactly the same. I'm having to go this way because that's where the wind's coming from. I'm hoping the microphone doesn't pick it up too much. Yeah, no, it flies pretty good. Yeah, it's slightly more aggressive, but it's still not an aggressive flying quad, which is good. But it's certainly fun. Yeah, no, flies okay. and nice and slow as well, so that's good. I'll drop it back into mode 1, and here we go. And this is full forward, and you can see it's hardly going at all. I'll bring it back and then I'll flip it onto 3, and then you can see exactly what the difference is. And that's 3, and you can see quite a lot faster. But certainly 1 would be good to learn with. There we go. Oh, nice little quad. Seems to fly okay. I don't know if we've got the LEDs flashing or not. It's quite difficult to see actually. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure those LEDs are flashing, so we'll drop it down and just have a look. Yeah, we've definitely got flashing LEDs, whether or not you can see them there. Yeah, so quite difficult to see. I'll give it a little night flight inside and see what it does. But when the LEDs are flashing, off with the quad, off with the transmitter. I just thought I'd show you what it looks like with the lights off. It is quite cool actually. It does throw some light back down the bodywork, which actually makes it look quite smart. So you could actually tell what orientation it is if it wasn't too far away from you, sort of thing. So yeah, it looks quite cool. Looks a bit UFO-ish, but yeah, it looks nice at night. And so in summary on the X165, downsides, first of all, the transmitter is the same as all the small ones, so that's the same as everyone, so it's not really a downside, it's just the way they work. It's good having the trim buttons, that's excellent. Would be nice if it did have prop guards, because it is aimed at the beginner market, I'm pretty sure, and certainly a beginner would get on pretty well with it. But once you hit a wall, damaging the props is another problem as well, because you don't get any spare props with it, so you've got to order them as well. So a little couple of down things there. Plus side, I really like the style of it. It looks really nice. The LEDs do work, though outside I was pushing it a bit. It really is an indoor flyer. Yeah, so in mode 1's so soft, it's nice to learn with, which is good. Mode 2 gets a little bit more aggressive flying, or a little bit more anxious, which is better, and 3 is a little bit better again. No headless mode, so that's a bit of a shame, but all in all, yeah, a good beginner's quad. You could have a lot of fun with it. Just make sure you can find some extra props for it as well. That would be brilliant.